Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting installment and return of 6 questions. And this is a special 7 question edition of 6 questions, but it's still going to be labeled as 6 questions. Uh, the Getting into the first set of questions. And it's asked by Patrick Porter. His channel will be the link to his channel will be in the comment section down below. And his question is, and before I get to that, I might take a drink every so often because of it might be a long video. But getting to the first question, getting to Patrick's question here, do you have any favorite wrestling DVDs? I did answer this before on 6 questions, but because it's been so long and things changed, I thought I'll do this one again. I thought I'd go from 5 to 1. This might surprise you a little bit. The first 5 is Owen, Heart of Gold. The reasons because of this documentary, or the reason why this is not number 1 is because of the documentary. I thought the documentary could have been a whole lot better than what it is. It's not the greatest documentary in the world. It is a great documentary, but it's not the best. Of course, let's say they could have had a little more clips of Owen speaking about his life and career. I'm sure they probably could have got that. I'm sure, and I think along with the Owen tales, they could have made this a four disc set. Instead of having the Owen tales, which might as well say is stories, which they made the set part of the second disc being tales anyway. What they could have done was made it a 4 disc set, made the first disc a great documentary, second disc being stories. No matter if it's told by friends or family members of Owen. And then the third and fourth disc being there's a compilation of matches. But because he's my favorite superstar of all time, and I do think it is a great documentary, I had to put him on at least on number 5. Going to number 4, Edge, Decade of Decadence. I could have, yes, and there's the documentary DVD of You Think You Know Me, the story of Edge, but I thought this one here was done a little bit better than that one. As it's still talking about his childhood, how he got into wrestling. Well, I should say how he got into watching wrestling, how he actually got started with his career. Then, of course, a few moments in his wrestling career, and all that. Now, the documentary that came out in 2011 of You Think You Know Me, the story of Edge, does go a little bit deeper than this one, but what kind of ruined that one for me is showing like a radio interview. If they just kept that out, I think that could have been much better. But going into number 3, the cheating death, stealing life, the Eddie Guerrero story. Great documentary talking about growing up, uh, of being the son of a promoter and wrestler of as in Guerrero. Talking about lowriders, uh, how he met Vicky, and even married Vicky. Then, of course, with that, Gory dying the Tuesday before they got married, and Eddie wanted to keep his promise to his father, because he promised his father to, no matter what happened, marry Vicky. Uh, then, of course, talking about how he began in the wrestling business with ECW, or with AAA, ECW, eventually WCW. Then, of course, the the car accident that got him to overdose, to to get on drugs, more or less. Then, of course, him overdose. Talked a little bit about him being on drugs, him overdosing. Uh, him going to, then, of course, going to the WWF at the time. Uh, then the Latino Heat character. Uh, the drug problems getting worse. Rock bottom, or hitting rock bottom by getting fired. He was actually fired at one point by Vince and JR, and more or less the WWF, because of he was uh, being a nuisance, a nuisance, or nuisance, whatever. He more or less he was being a problem with people in the back. Gaining second chance by the WWE. And of course, he was doing independence until he was rehired. Uh, he the lie, cheat, and steal character. Uh, the frog splash, and then of course No Way Out 2004 pay per view. But I would say if you haven't watched this documentary, I would highly recommend this DVD. Cheating Life, or Cheating Death, Stealing Life, the Eddie Guerrero story. Going into the number two, uh, is this one here is the best documentary WWE has ever done about somebody that's already been dead. And I know Wrestling Rampage will agree with that. Uh, because they even said it. And it's Brian Pillman, the loose cannon. Uh, I'm covering his live, how he about or covering his childhood, about being that he didn't have a father growing up because his father died before he was born. Covering the about him having polyps growing up and wasn't supposed to be alive at age, even surpass age 10. Uh, I don't even believe. I think it's on here said that he's supposed to be dead by age 5, and he lived to be in his late 30s, early 40s. Uh, when he died, saying, showing or talking about the him getting into high school football, college football, then of course the pros. Then of course transitioning into wrestling. Uh, talking about his then of course talking about his career uh, in wrestling, and then of course his death. And talking about the injury that he had with the car accident. But going to my number one favorite of all time, and I don't care anyone says, I'm looking at this man for what he did in the ring and not what he did outside the ring. Hard Knocks, the Chris Benoit story. I thought this was a great documentary, one of the best. Talking about his childhood, how he got into wrestling, how he got into physical shape, uh, talking about uh, Dynamite Kid, talking about how he got started with being trained by being invited by Bruce Hart to the Hart House, and even uh, being trained by the Harts, of course, getting started in the wrestling business. Uh, and then of course going to starting in Calgary, going to Calgary, going to Japan, then WCW or ECW, then WCW, uh, and then eventually WWF/E. Uh, and then of course it covered WrestleMania 20 as well. But it did come out in 2004, a little bit after the probably a few months after WrestleMania 20. Uh, but that's all I really had to say about my favorite DVDs, because I thought I'd just do my top 5 of them anyway. But going to the next question, asked by Alex from Pro Wrestling Reality. His channel is called Alex Legal Research. His channel as well will be in the comment or in the description down below. He asks, "Do you like the WWE Thunderdome idea?" Here's the problem with that. At first, I thought a small part of me thought this might be a good thing, but a good 90% of me knew that there's going to be people out there to uh, make this just a terrible thing. And I was right. Because you got teddy bears being shown, you got Pikachu being shown, you got Mario being shown, you got a elite footage of a execution being shown, you got someone dressing up as a KKK member. You got not one, but 2 pictures of Chris Benoit being shown. You got a Funko Pop being shown. And that was on Payback last night. I'm not sure if anybody else saw that, but it was someone actually showing that up close, that as close as my hand is, of a Funko Pop. So I think it's kind of really a terrible idea because of that. What they should have done was the same thing as AEW did last Wednesday night, or last Thursday night, was have the arena, go to a big arena and have the like they did with the Amway Center, and then had it at a 10% capacity, and they've been just fine. And that's really all I have to say on the Thunderdome. But there's one last thing I wanted to add. I think they have a problem with YouTubers being on there, because if you watch, if you watch Grimm and seen the video that he made the night of the first Thunderdome, then of course later uploaded, uh, he had registered for the Thunderdome and didn't get the email for the the link for to get in until after SmackDown Honor started, and he couldn't even get into the Thunderdome. And yes, I got into a Thunderdome for a few seconds, but it was lagging on that first one. I registered for Payback, and it said it was checking availability. Please stand by. And I was on my phone at the time, and yes, I had enough battery, but like I'm going to sit there with my phone uh, uh, on for hour not only 30 minutes, but an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, just for a chance to get into the Thunderdome. No, I'm not doing that. Now, if I was able to do it on my computer, maybe, because I normally would keep my uh for something like that, I'll have my charger in. But for my phone, But I honestly think they have something against YouTubers, especially the ones that speak shit about them. But that's all I have to say about the Thunderdome. Going to the next 5 questions, and they're all asked by the same person, my good friend TnCoupner. And if you want to save a few bucks, you can go check out TnCoupner. His first question is, what's your thoughts on Roman Reigns' return? Sorry, told you I had to get a drink every once in a while. But like I said, TnCoupner asked, what's your thoughts on Roman Reigns' return? I never really cared for Roman Reigns. And say, to me, for the Shield, looking at the Shield, to me, I always seen the number one guy out of the Shield being Seth Rollins. Then number 2 being Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley. Then, of course, number 3 being Roman. Yes, I did see the 5 questions that Wrestling Rampage done, where they said, or not the 5 questions, but the compared AEW to WWE. The comparison video that they did with AEW to WWE. And they said that John was never built, or John was not as big of a star as Roman or Seth Rollins. True, but the problem is with that is he was never really given the chance to become a big star. WWE only seen Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns as the big star, not John. John could have been a bigger star if he could have been built as a bigger star than what he was. WWE never gave him that chance. And say for the Roman Reigns' return itself, I thought it was great, but my initial question was, just when I seen him, was, when was this Roman Reigns? The night after WrestleMania 33, after he defeated The Undertaker. This heel character. And kind of going with the next, and this is kind of rearranging your question order a little bit, but I want to keep it within the same boat here. The next question is my thoughts on Reigns and Paul Heyman working together now. As everybody knows by now, on SmackDown and Payback, it was on SmackDown was revealed that Roman Reigns is working with Paul Heyman now. I think it's good with it. It's just the question I have is what about Brock Lesnar? Is Paul Heyman going to manage Brock on Raw and Roman on SmackDown? Or is Roman or Brock going to be drafted to the other brand? Because there is rumors of being a draft in October. So, but yeah. But his next question is, keeping Roman Reigns related, what if Lesnar and Reigns teamed up? And he has said, talking about a dangerous team. Possibility a dangerous team, I would say. But if you want my true feelings about Roman or about Lesnar, go check out the rant video I did with Patrick Porter on his channel. Because, and I'm already saying this right here, he's a sorry piece of shit. The only thing he wants to do is sit at home on his damn fucking couch, suck his wife's tits, and then milk the damn fucking cows, and watch the Little House on the Prairie. And then go to his barber, Tony. That sorry piece of shit. I hope Lesnar doesn't ever return. Like I said in the rant video. When they did the when they was releasing people back in April, Lesnar should have been the number one guy to go. Because you're paying this guy millions of dollars per 1 year to sit at home. Millions of dollars to one guy that's not earning it. That's just sit at home. He should have been the number one guy. He can't wrestle worth a damn. He can't cut a promo worth a damn. That's why Paul Heyman's with them. The only thing he does is go in there and hurt. So I hope Reigns doesn't, or Lesnar doesn't ever return. So I don't care about Reigns' in-ring work, and at least Reigns can actually work a little bit. Let's get into the last question here. He asks, favorite TV shows. And just a minute. I did have. I'm going to do my top 5, just like I did with the wrestling DVDs. But I would like to have some honorable mentions here. The honorable mentions being Tatsy, with Andy Kaufman, Sanford and Son with Red Fox, King of Queens with Kevin James, Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, uh, Scooby Doo, any Scooby Doo show, not movie, TV show, uh, and then of course, Knight Rider. And I'm not sure if you meant of all time or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you like the current ones just to cover the bases here. The current TV shows that's on air now, that's running now. You talk it's more, and these are mostly Disney shows, but you're talking about sending to the match. You got trying to think of some other shows that's on Disney. Bumped. You got Raven's Home. Even some of that ones that was on a little bit of it's been off for about a year, at least a year or two. Stuck in the Middle or Jesse or Girl Meets World. Uh, so at least those are some of the current ones, and there's not really outside Disney. There's not really that much I like that's on TV right now, or it's been on TV for the last few years. Maybe Storage Wars, which I haven't got really into until the last couple of years with all the reruns and everything. But going to of all time, my favorite shows of all time, and I'm going to go again. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. Roseanne. This is if you haven't watched this show, you probably heard of it. It's about a show where the mother Roseanne has to get her way all the time, and sometimes she'll give in. But she is a nice she's a better mother. Yes, she's mean, but she's a better mother than some. Some people won't give this show a shot because of they don't like Roseanne Barr. Uh, my question is, have you ever seen her work? Uh, and say if you haven't seen her work, then I would say give her a chance. Uh, say I'm just asking you to give her a chance, and perhaps put, watch a few at least a season's worth of shows. Uh, uh, and then of course, if you still don't like her or the show, uh, continue. Don't watch the show again, and please tell me. But uh, going to my number fourth favorite, and before I go into my number fourth favorite, if you did not know, I like country music. Country music is my favorite genre of music. So you might be surprised by this. It's Reba. And before I go and continue it, uh, there's going to be a couple that I might not. The next few, within the top three might be to show you a season out of the uh, a season of it because I might not be in all in one case. But this is a show about a mom, as in Reba, uh, had to get a divorce because of her husband uh, cheating on her, and got that woman pregnant, and her oldest daughter, or her oldest, which is a daughter, had got pregnant and had to get married, and showing how she's how the main mother, Reba, is getting through life, being a single mother, has to deal with her a goofy son-in-law, her sometimes idiotic daughter, and had to deal with dealing with uh, her ex-husband, and then his goofy uh, wife that he cheated on his ex-wife Reba with. Going to my number 3, Boy Meets World. It's about a boy, Corey Matthews, and say how he's being raised, and then how he's getting to learn the world. Uh, and then of course, I mean, getting a few things along the way. Uh, and everything, but you get the drift. If you ever seen Boy Meets World, you know uh, what it's all about. Now, this next one you might be surprised with being with him being my number 2 spot, and it's actually a show that I actually seen every episode of with before I got this DVD. But before I got this DVD, I didn't see any of the episodes in a very long time, and I recently just watched it for the second time since I had it, and it's Danny Phantom. This show was created by Butch Hartman, uh, and it's a show about a boy who got transformed, transformed into a ghost at age 14 by uh, a machine that supposed to be a portal to a ghost zone, but that which was made by his parents, uh, and he has to fight all the ghosts that comes through and put them back. Uh, and of course, he has a couple of his friends, uh, does help him along the way. Now, going to my number 1 spot, something that it's a show that Danny Phantom actually got me ready for, because it actually started in 1998, which I never really got into the show actually when it was on air, but I did start watching it with the reruns. And I never really wanted to give it a try until I was actually kind of forced to. But it's a show. Basically, it's a show about three sister witches, uh, fighting similar to Danny Phantom, bad guys, more or less. They had to fight uh, uh, either bad witches or evil witches, demons, warlocks, what have you. And it's Charmed, the original Charmed, not the spinoff, or not the spinoff, but the remake of Charmed, the original Charmed. Uh, and that's it for this edition of 6 questions, and I hope you enjoyed. Say if you enjoyed, hit that like button. It will. I would highly appreciate it because it'll help it rank up on YouTube. And if you want to be here, give it a dislike. I don't care. Uh, don't forget, if you want to ask me a question, leave it down in the comment section down below, and I'll be glad to answer it. And don't forget, there is a video that's coming. That's going to be coming out within the next 24 to 48 hours. Uh, go check that out. It's going to be another Talking Wrestling episode. I believe episode 7. Uh, so go check that. Be looking for it and check it out. So see you guys next time.